If you're like me, coffee is a massive part of your camping experience. And I think waking up in the morning when you're out in the outback and enjoying a good cup of coffee makes it so much better. So I thought we'd run you through what we took when we traveled around Australia and what we take when we go camping now. The best ways to make coffee, especially if you're a bit of a snob like me. So let's get into it. We're Joss and Megan, and after 2 years of living full-time on the road in a rooftop tent, we learnt a lot. Now we're here to share what worked, what didn't, and everything we wish we knew before we started. So obviously, let's start at the most basic, simple, cheapest, and sometimes not so bad, the old instant coffee. Now, we always carry instant coffee with us everywhere we go. I think just because it's one of those easy ones, it also doesn't go off. If you're not feeling like you want to wait ages for a coffee, or you're out of beans, or whatever your other setups are, this is a great backup. But again, also a lot of people enjoy instant just as much as anything else, so it's always great to just have it on hand. Because in the mornings, I can't wait for my coffee. Jetboil, I find, is the best way to heat up your water. A lot of people have these, they're so simple, there's no need to hook up the gas bottle or anything like that. You just chuck these on the little fuel canister and you've got coffee in about a minute. So that's really handy when you're combining it with instant. Now, I love the Moka. I can't do the Nescafe Blend 43. This is our go-to. Everyone has their own opinions on instant coffee. The next one up from this, I believe, is the moka pot. Now, I don't have a moka pot anymore, but we did travel Australia probably for about 1.5 years using the moka pot. And for the first part, it was really good. I found it quite easy. Now, you do need some beans and a grinder. Now, these are just some beans that I got as a present. So good. For the moka pot, I always did it on a gas canister, and I just had the stove top for it. You just got to be really careful to boil it quite slowly because you don't want to boil it too quickly because it'll burn the beans and that kind of thing. But the moka pot is great. The only problem I had with it was posty. The only problem I had with it is it didn't make a lot, especially because Megan loves black coffee. So majority of her coffee was from the moka pot. We ended up buying a bigger one, which did work a bit better, but at the end of the day, I found that because we were doing it on quite a hot stove and the moka pot it just didn't create, or I guess brew for long enough. It kind of just boiled. The way it works is it boils over and kind of spills into the kettle part. And therefore, I just felt it was always a little bit too bitter and it didn't make enough actual coffee, but it does need beans. So that's when we got one of these. Now, this is just off Amazon. It is a battery powered, rechargeable coffee grinder with a number of different settings, and it just goes into this cup and you just fill it from the top here. Now, these are really good because 1, you don't need power. 2, it actually grinds them rather than cutting it. There's many out there that are kind of like a NutriBullet where they just spin and they just cut the bean up. Whereas this, if you look inside it, it's actually got a grinder. It actually grinds it really fine if you want it, or coarse if you'd rather that. So we found that is very necessary if you want a good quality moka pot coffee. I guess the other option is to buy the coffee beans already grounded. They don't last as long, especially in the car, especially if you can't seal them properly. So we keep them sealed, we keep them as beans, and then we put them through the grinder the day before or the morning of, and then pop them in our moka pot, or in our current case, some more options. So let's move on to those options. So the next option is obviously a plunger. Now, we found the plunger really handy. We use it at home all the time. It's a great alternative to a proper coffee, and it also gives you a bit more flexibility in terms of being able to slowly press the beans. Now, once again, we use our grounded beans for this. The idea with a plunger coffee is to have them as coarse as possible. So we've got it on the largest setting for this guy. And then again, I just boil the coffee in the Jetboil saucepan thing. It all depends on how strong you like your coffee. I think they say between like a teaspoon, maybe a couple of teaspoons per cup, but it all depends on how much water you're planning, how many coffees you're making, the type of beans, how hot the water is, all that kind of stuff. So you kind of get a gist of how you like your coffee before you really nail it. So we use this quite a bit. It's really simple. It's really easy to clean as well. So that's a big thing when you're out in the bush. And it makes a lot of coffee, as you can see. So obviously the more coffee you make, the more beans you use, but it probably can make a coffee for 4 or 5 people. And then it's really good because you can just pour it all from here straight into the cup. And also you can kind of judge it how you want. You can push it down for a bit, leave it, walk away, and push it down a bit more. So it gives it that time to kind of, for the beans to go in the water. Now I guess this is a little bit closer to your instant, where you're kind of just letting the water soak the beans rather than using any kind of pressure or boiling system. But saying that, I feel like the time that this can, you know, really get the coffee infused in the water kind of helps create a good taste. The other thing, just going back to the moka pot, was that if you wanted to make more coffee than what it can hold, it gets bloody hot because it's been straight on the flame. So that's a good thing to keep in mind, that if you're only buying a small one and you need to make multiple coffees, you're kind of going to have to wait for it to cool down, or you're going to have to clean it and re-put the beans in it when it's bloody hot. So that's just something to keep in mind, because we found it was very hard to clean when it was really, really boiling hot. So something to just be aware of if you're going to go the moka pot route. But saying that, a lot of people love the moka pot. The Italians swear by them, so they must be good. All right, so we're going to move on to our last one now, and this one is by far makes the best coffee, but also it can steam milk. That's right, you don't need any power, you don't need anything over complicated. It can steam milk and make proper barista coffee. So let's take a look at it. This here is the Bellman Espresso Maker. It is probably, in my opinion, one of the best camping accessories that you can have. Now, it has to be said that it takes a while to learn how to really work this thing, but once you nail it, it makes great coffee. It honestly feels like you'd be drinking coffee from a cafe. Now, different components to it. So it's obviously got the main chamber. It's got a great handle which doesn't get hot. It's got your pressure meter. It's got the spout, and then it's got your milk frother, and it also comes with your milk jug, obviously. So honestly, it even looks like a proper little setup. Now, going through the parts, this works by pressure. So it heats up, it builds up a huge amount of pressure, and then slowly, and that's the key compared to the moka pot and our other systems, is that it slowly brews the coffee. It doesn't boil over and get super hot and then just spurt it out, but you do have control over it. So it's kind of up to you how quick you want the coffee or / the pressure to release. Now inside, it's got pretty much where you fill the water up. So you fill water up, it's all instructions are online, but roughly halfway. Again, it depends on how many coffees you want to make. It's got this basket, is that what they call it? This one's got a hole in it, so it's different to most coffee machines, but because the water goes up, or the steam goes up the middle, creates that pressure. So that simply sits on there. You put in your ground coffee. Again, you want to decide or kind of figure out what size grind you like. Place it on here. Now, it does come with a compression thingy. I forget the real name, a push it down thing. I can't find it at the moment, but it's actually got a hole in the bottom of it, so it fits over this thing here, so you can push it in nice and firmly exactly how you want it. I have read that the idea with these is to don't push it down too hard, because it just makes it so hard for the steam and the water to come up that it does burn the coffee. So don't push it down too hard. Once you got your water in and your coffee in, simply place this back on top, and this is where you seal in all the pressure. Everything has got proper seals on it, and you do this very tight, or just quite tight, that you know no air is going to come out. I like to put it on our gas stove. I have a lot more adjustment over the flame, as opposed to a Jetboil where it's just a lot of flame and a very little adjustment. You like to have this thing not too hot. They say to boil the water first before you put it in, but sometimes you can't wait. I like to put it on that because you have a lot of adjustment over the flame, and you can kind of put it down as it heats up. And watching the pressure here, you've got different colors of blue, green, yellow, red, and you really want it around the green. As it gets to green, you start to release this little nozzle here with your cup underneath, and just slowly open it up, and you'll learn that it'll just become just slightly more than a drip, and a bit of a drizzle, I guess, a slow flow. Don't want it to open it too much, because then all the air will come out. Once you get it a slow flow, you'll see that with a good cup of coffee, you'll get good crema on top. And I guess you want about a shot and a half, 2 shots, or however you like your coffee, in the bottom of your cup, and then slowly close it. You'll notice that the coffee's quite strong. It's more stronger than if you're having it the other ways that we've touched on. Now, for me, this is the best part of this setup, to have hot milk. With everything else, you pretty much have to pour cold milk on top, where you're having majority coffee and a small part milk. Whereas here, you're having your coffee shot and then 75% milk. Now, the key here is really just to understand how you like your milk. And it's probably good to watch a few other videos on YouTube about how to really steam milk, because there is a bit of an art to it. But essentially with this, you open up this nozzle here and you're just letting the steam out of this chamber. So the good thing is this holds pressure for a long time. So after you've poured all your coffee, it's still got a lot of pressure in there, hence a lot of steam. And you kind of just sit it there, depending on how you like it, whether you like it really frothy or more silky, you kind of just work your coffee how you like it. It creates heaps, so obviously you can fill it right up to the full 600 mils and multiple coffees. And depending on, you can really kind of get a good judge of how much steam and how much energy you have left in here by the pressure meter here. And then once you've finished steaming your milk, obviously pour it into your coffee and enjoy it. But then you just gotta close this off and then open it a bit and really clean the bottom of these, because there is only 2 little holes here, so you want to make sure they don't get clogged up. Similar to the moka pot, this gets very, very hot, as you can imagine, because it's on flame. It gets super high pressure in here. So once you've released all the air out through here, the main thing to remember is never open up the top part when there's lots of pressure. Release it all through the frother, steamer, whatever you want to call it, and then you can open up this part and then clean it. I guess it's really important to clean all parts of it. It can get slimy and a bit yucky. So there's seals in here, there's different components that pull apart, you can clean them. Obviously you're going to clean this and then inside here, and then give this a good wipe down. Another cool thing is for storage, the handle comes off and you can kind of pack it away as you want. Now they are quite heavy and they are a bit awkward with their different things poking out, so we do struggle to find the perfect spot for it. Make sure it's in somewhere relatively safe, because there is a few things you don't want it to bend, you don't want it to break, you don't want it to fall out of your canopy when you stop. So just those things are to keep in mind. But yes, that's how we love having coffee on the road. We have a few different types and each type has its scenario. Whether we want a super quick coffee, we go for the instant. If we have a little bit more time, we'll use the plunger. And if we have a long time, if we're not going anywhere that day, we love to set up and have a Bellman Espresso, a proper coffee with proper milk. So that's how we do it. Also, the grinder, essential. You got to have one. It just makes the world of difference with your beans, especially being able to adjust the setting. All right, thanks for watching, and we'll see you back here for another episode of whatever I decide to do. Bye.